debt is good, mortgage debt is bad. It either is good or bad, depending on how one uses it. Both debts are good. Student debt is good. Mortgage debt is good. Good. Migwi says that if we rent out a house, then it is good. Matthew says we keep eye on the clock, so we will proceed. So we are saying we have that question, whether student debt is good or bad, and whether mortgage debt is good or bad. I would say student debt, you have no surety that the amount you're taking will ever repay itself. In an economy like Kenya, we don't know whether you'll get employed or what will happen. So it changes. For some, it is good. For some, it is not good. Then mortgage. If you're buying a house to live in, then mortgage debt is bad. If you're buying a house to bring you rental income, mortgage debt is good. So as I proceed, I think that will answer as we move forward. Then, so the takeaway from the differences are these. Whether a given debt is good or bad depends on several factors. There is the interest rate and the amount of time it will take you to pay back the debt. What are you borrowing the money for? You need to know, what are you borrowing that money for? Hatutaki uchukue pesa ukakule. And I thank God that Samuel is here. We used to work with him somewhere where we had a saying, mkopo ni mjinga. That you can borrow. Mkopo itakai kujua kama mama yako aligonjeka, ama aliaga, ama what happened. You have to know, what are you borrowing this money for? So the other thing is, do you have a plan for the money you borrowed? That you have, before you even get to the bank, you have to have a plan that you need to follow end to end. Then equally important to consider is your unique tolerance for debt. Then good debt is borrowing that helps you build long-term wealth. You have to understand this. Good debt is borrowing that helps you build long-term debt, long-term wealth. I don't think student loans help you build long-term wealth. It's not here nor there. But we are also saying bad debt, on the other hand, can harm your credit. I would want to say bad debt is what we are receiving on phones, but I could be punished because I work with fintechs. So once in a while we have money on our phone, we want to borrow, we mess up with our credit score, then we can't borrow again. So it becomes a problem. So it can harm your credit. The other thing is the difference comes down to two factors. How risky do you want to get, and what is the cost of this debt? Then because I have now taught you what is good and what is bad, now we want to get a good loan or a good debt. So we have a mnemonic that we used to use in the bank. It's called PATS. So when a banker, credit or loan officer is asked by a customer for a loan or facility, they usually will consider 5 factors. That is purpose, amount, repayment, term, and security. So the purpose of the loan is, a loan request will be declined if the purpose of the loan is not acceptable to the financial institution. So you cannot come to me and tell me you want to grow marijuana and I finance you. So the purpose must adhere to what is already set down in the banking policy. Then the amount of the loan. You cannot come and tell us you need $1 million, whereas you are just starting somewhere. So the customer must state exactly how much he or she wants to borrow. So you want to tell me, I want 10,000. I'm using it in this and this way. So the bank must verify, as far as he or she is able to do so, that the amount required to make the proposed investment has been estimated correctly. We don't want you to tell us you were buying a vehicle and you didn't estimate the amount on insurance and probably the cost of freight into Kenya. So the other thing is, how will the loan be repaid? Will the customer be able to obtain sufficient income to make the necessary payment? This is very key. So you just don't go into a bank and ask for money, or you don't just go to your friend and tell them I need 100,000. They need to know, how will you repay them? And the other thing is, what would be the duration of the loan? So traditionally, financial institutions have offered short-term and medium-term loans and overdrafts, but nowadays I'm seeing loans that are going in excess of 7 years, which is commendable, depending on the project. Then the other thing is, does the loan require security? Do you have even a security? So if it doesn't require securities, are you in a group? So if you have security, is the proposed security able to cover the facility. Then the thing that I like talking about very much is the 5 C's of credit. The 5 C's of credit. If you're going to take anything from this discussion, take these 5 C's of credit. So the number one thing that banks look at is character. How are you? What is your reputation? How does your reputation look like? So character, this is determined by your credit score. We have a CRB house currently, which has over 2.5 million people listed. The other day, around a million people are to be removed from the bureau, but I don't know whether it has happened. But the first thing that character looks at is your reputation. How do your neighbors perceive you? What is your credit score? Do you have guarantors? What is your credit history? If you borrowed money somewhere and ran away, we will still catch you. So the other thing is capacity. Are you able to pay this facility? So based on your income and other financial obligations, will you be able to pay back the loan? Then the other thing is collateral. Do you have savings or assets that can be claimed if you don't make your payment? Joseph akikuja kukuchota, atachota nini? Ataki kukuja alikuwa ameandikiwa shamba haipati. So there is the issue of collateral. Then there is also the matter of capital. Do you have savings or assets that can be claimed if you don't make payments? So the other thing, when we talk about capital, what is your contribution to whatever you're buying? If it's a motor vehicle, that is why you see banks tell you we will finance you 80%. How much are you putting in? Then there is the matter of conditions. If you're looking for money, we have to look at what is currently happening in the world. We don't want to give you a loan for second-hand clothes. Na zimefungiwa kwa Gikomba, leo kulikuwa na moto Gikomba. So you need to look at that. Then I would have loved to give you a story from my personal experience, but because of time, I will move to how we are going to invest whatever we are earning, whatever we are making from business and all that. So I have classified this into investments and I've said cash flows. There are 6 keywords that you have to remember from this discussion. That there is the poor, the middle class, and the rich. So the poor are the people we talked about, the Lazarus who was being licked, whose souls were being licked at the gate. Then we have the middle class. These are people who are now trying to rise. These are the people who are self-employed and business owners. Then we have the rich. These are the investors. So in this quadrant, I was trying to show how money moves in each class. So whenever somebody in the poor category, which is an employee, receives money, it goes out at the expense level through taxes, rent, easy expenses, kidogo kidogo. Then when this person gets promoted, he wants to try to get into the middle class. So he'll get a mortgage, he goes and lives in that house. So the money, when this salary comes in, he has to pay a mortgage. So there is no money coming in. So pesa yake yote bado inatoka. So he has added onto what is on the outflows. Then the rich are continuously investing in things that will earn them money. So when they take up a mortgage, they are not taking a mortgage to live in the house. They are taking that mortgage so that they can earn rent income. So the rent income will be higher than the monthly interest. So that means more money into their bank accounts. Then, so as I end this topic today, as I said, I won't guide you on where you need to invest in, but I would like you to take these 8 things and remember them. Wealth forms the platform on which wisdom operates. Solomon was not just given wisdom like the man who was a great resource to the city, but was forgotten. Solomon was given wealth. He was also told that if he adhered to the commands and whatever David used to do, he would be added more life. Then number 2, wealth is an attractive force. Poverty, on the other hand, is repulsive. I gave you an example of how a wife anaweza kuruka. That is Job's wife, who said, curse God and die. So he was ready to lose his husband because he was now poor. The other thing is poverty causes incapacity. When people are speaking, I gave you an example of the joke that I got doing rounds, that ule mtu hana kitu kwenu. Yeye ndio anafungulianga watu soda huko when you are doing your family sherehes na meno. So inamaanisha hata hatapewa opener because he is poor. So poverty causes incapacity. And you can only give others what you have. If you have nothing, you're always borrowing. What will you give to others? Then number 4, a wealthy person configures structures and systems to create generational, self-sustaining income and streams. I've shown you the 3 classes of people: the poor, the middle class, and the rich. The rich are continuously doing things that will have self-sustaining income, and their children will still get money even when they die. So we are saying you have to make plans with your children's children in mind in whatever you're doing. Then number 5, it is not what you have, but what you do with it that matters. I told you about how you have to look at your seed. We are saying one seed is the mother of a forest. So you have to look at what you currently have and use it very well. Then we have also classified debt in number 6. Debt is either good or bad. I'm insisting that we have to have good debt so that you don't come meet me in my other mask or face that I usually use when I'm collecting. Then number 7, good debt gets money in your pocket, bad debt gets money out of your pocket. We have seen what Helb is saying. So good debt gets money in your pocket, bad debt gets money out of your pocket. Then the number 8 thing, there are 6 keywords. I wanted to mention them before, but I'm mentioning them now. 6 keywords to remember on your journey to financial freedom: income, expenses, assets, liabilities, and cash flow. Those are the key things that you need to come out of this, how to create wealth through loans. That there is income, that when you receive income, what are your expenses? So you need to reduce as much, you need to reduce your outflows and add more on your inflows. How are we going to do that? We are going to borrow the right way. I think we'll have another session next time where we'll be talking about now which vehicles are we going to use to get ourselves to the next level. I think I will hand it over back to Matthew in case of any questions and answer, because time is far much gone. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Okay, these were reactions, earlier ones. Kindly, if you don't mind. Okay, somebody is asking for you a few more minutes to say the personal story.
Asanteni sana. I was running away from giving you my story, but I'm seeing everybody wants a story. So I have many stories to give, because as I told you, Matthew, I am many things. I am from far. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I would say is I've learned about debt in many instances. The first loan I took was in 2009. I remember I had just been posted by a bank to a regional branch that was Naivasha. So I was starting life in a different town from Nairobi. Mimi ni mzaliwa wa Nairobi. But now, because I love music, I took a circle loan of 40,000. Then was a lot of money, and I bought a home theater with the whole 40,000. So that home theater was very nice. But what happened is I should have used that money. There were lands being sold in a place called Kayole in Naivasha, and that money would have bought me around 4 to 5 parcels of land in Kayole then. But my Luo self then decided that I needed a home theater. So for me then, that was a good loan. That was a good loan turned bad, because now I had to pay, and my home theater was just in the house most of the time. It was there more than I was in the house. So one is that I learned about bad debt then. Then I started making radical decisions on my financial position, but I also messed up again, because I started earning a lot of money when young. So what happened is I purchased a motor vehicle at a certain amount of money. I got into an accident, and the insurance paid just a chunk of that money. So I had to borrow more money to make this vehicle. Again, this was a Luo-like decision. I bought a vehicle that was not seen locally, so nilikuwa nikitokea vijana wanatii. But that notwithstanding, those two lessons have taught me that whenever I'm making a decision, on loans, I have to have a pre-plan. Is whatever I am investing in going to bring money into my wallet? So for others, they would want to get. I'm seeing a friend of mine raising his hand. For others, they would want to get to invest in things that are for sure. I wouldn't advise for that. I say in this journey, you have to walk it slow. I have learned my lessons then, as I told my facilitator and host, Matthew, everything is a journey. I am teaching from experience because I have suffered the pangs of debt, both as a lender and as a borrower. And on this other end is that now I also come face to face with people who borrowed for weddings, borrowed to buy funny stuff, and you have now to collect it. So in summary, let me leave it at there. I think we'll have another session in future. Matthew, I give you the permission to welcome me as many times as you want. I have more than an hour the next time, whether it is day or night. Asante sana.
So please talk how interest is calculated for credit cards. Talk about, yeah, that is Jackie who is asking. I think Jackie must be chased. Something must be happening around the credit card. She wants to know watu wanaisabingi interest namna gani? Kwa nini inakaa ikipanda hivi?
I think for such a question, I would say that interest differs from institution to institution. So I would want to understand how much has been charged first, because the other thing is, if you're using that credit card to make purchases and you're not remitting money as it comes into your account, then there is a problem. Because what happens, a credit card is like an overdraft. If you exceed your limit, of course, there is a problem. The interest will go high. So you have to read the fine print of any bank document. I wouldn't want to divulge so much on how much the interest is, but what I know is that when you do not meet the terms and conditions as set out on that credit card, you will suffer the consequences. I have seen a few banker friends of mine here. Probably they can tell me what is currently happening in that market. But what I know is that if you're using your card for your purchases, you need to have money in your account as and when the time and term lapses, so that ikiitisha pesa inakuja kama imeokota. Hiyo ndio inaletanga shida. Ikikosa kadi account ikikuja ikose pesa inaleta shida. The interest will go high. I hope I have.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you very much. I think yeah, I will give the banker friends. Anybody can chat the answer there. I'm thinking the average, I think, rate for credit card is around 2.5% per month. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong. I was a banker also a few years back. So, but yeah, you can help us with the information, the answers there. And of course, that is not little money, because if you're talking about around 2.5%, that is about how much per year? 24 plus 6. That's around 30% per year. You can be sure at the end of the year, it will have incurred quite a bit of interest. There is a question here by Angela Yego. How do you reconcile this with Bible verse? Let no debt remain among you except the debt of love. Sasa hii madeni unatueleza si ya upendo nani?
Interesting question. Bible also says that a borrower is a slave to the lender, isn't it? Yes. What we are talking about today is not even in response to that question, but we are saying that we need, from the parable of the talent, when you get money, can you pay it when it is supposed to be paid? Because what happens is that when you are in debt, you cannot even serve God. Kama ume default, inakuwa ni ngumu kwenda kuabudu Mungu. I remember at some point, Boya will tell you I was a ruthless debt collector. And I've also seen somebody from my former workplace, Vision Fund, Machuma. But what I want to say is this. Watu wengi, because we had a loan product for churches. People will want to borrow money, marry a new wife. People will want to borrow money, spend on a motor vehicle. But the thing is, you will not serve God if you are in debt. And in debt here, I mean, if you are a defaulter, it is a challenge. Utakuwa unaenda kuinua hivi mkono, unaona Joseph Maina ametokelezea. Ukitokelezea na hiyo sura ikuangi mzuri sana, you start now murmuring. You are saying the devil is amongst us. So one of the things that happens, I always say that when you read the Bible, read it in its entirety. Don't read it into pieces. It is telling you very well that there was one servant who was given one talent and did nothing about it. Na Mungu akamwambia, si afadhali hata ungeweka hiyo pesa kwa banki ya interest kidogo. So it means if you're not utilizing what you have and doing it the best, then you need to work around your new strategy. I have also noted Donald Trump. He says very well that even when things don't work out, I go back to the lender and I renegotiate. Huyo ni kusema mimi nishajua mambo ya madeni and I can be able to go around it. Watu wengi, and it's good to note that in the microfinance, watu wengi tumejaribu kuinua the poor people. But once they default, hautawai muona, anapotea kabisa. So you have to look at it in those two lenses. Asante. I hope I have clarified.
Okay, thank you very much. I think well handled. And as we continue proceeding, I can see more reactions. Please, at this point, I want to say, please feel free to join our WhatsApp group. We have one for upcoming sessions. I know before we began, I should have said this is session number 34, is it? 34 from the time we began. So we have a lot of wealth of recordings, information, and also, upcoming programs, because we do this every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. So if you want not to miss what is happening, feel free to join our WhatsApp group using the link that I've just shared. Having said that, let me go back to the questions. Okay, a lot of reactions there about the story. I think that's what people are demanding at here too. Please also talk about debt and the impact of COVID-19. I think that's a good one.
Asante sana Matthew, and asante for that question. I knew it would come in this session. So one of the things that happens is that whether there is COVID or none, if you are in debt, of course, you are still in debt. So the question begs, what is the impact of COVID on your own pocket? Because a debt is not something that you borrow in a multitude. Like when you see the CBK, the governor coming out and saying, we have agreed that anybody who are not defaulted by 1st of April will get some moratorium. So you need to start rethinking your own personal finances. If it's personal finances, if it's rent, you need to talk to your landlord. Endo muongeleshe, mwambie mkubwa, I was earning 1,000 from my business. Now I'm only getting 300. Speak to them, be open. Because one of the things that happens is that Kenyans, we are very unique. And as I said, we like hiding. So mimi napitana na landlord, anasikia kwangu kunanuka nyama, lakini hajaniona nikipita. So the impact of COVID, and we have been doing very many trainings on also risk on COVID. We have done so much for the financial sector. Now, as a borrower, the impact is very high. We have banks who have said that we can restructure your facility. Please take this earliest opportunity to visit your local financier. You are paying 10,000. Try to have a talk with them. Probably get it at 5,000. This is the only way you will be able to survive these days. Ni vile nimesema na nikarudia, mkopo ni mjinga. Whether there is COVID or whatever is happening in the world, it is impacting everybody. There is somebody who is working for the bank, na lazima alipwe mshahara. Banks earn from the interest they lend, the interest they earn from lending to you. So if you can, please visit your local financier, ask questions, get guidance, and you shall be able to run. Si hapo ni sawa. I hope I have cleared that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I think we go to the next one. There are still quite a number. For one with a big business idea, that is e.g. real estate, would you advise borrowing money from the bank or partnering with a venture capitalist or an investor? A business idea more of a startup. That is Chris Jora. What would be your advice?
Ebu, clarify that.
That's you want to do a startup. This is a person with a big business idea and is a startup. So what is the best option? Do they go to the bank and borrow initial capital, the seed capital, or do they partner with a venture capitalist? Which is the best option of the two?
Okay, before I even proceed, nimekumbuka kitu. I remembered Psalm 37 verse 21 in response to the person who asked the question about how do we reconcile. Psalm 37 verse 21 says, the wicked borrow and does not pay. So it means kuna watu wanakopanga lakini wasilipe, lakini kwa kanisa ndio wanaongoza pambio pale mbele. Hata tunashukuru kanisa sahi haziholdiwi, ndio hawa defaulters mahali tuwashikie wakiwa manyumbani. That is far from the point. Back to your question about startups. I always say that it is very rare to get a financier in Kenya who will finance a startup. So one of the things I always advise, because with experience comes many things, I usually do fundraising for startups, but for this particular response is this. If you can get from your networks, if your idea is worthwhile, because we have very many ideas in the world, I always say that yours may not be unique, but it can be a fast mover. So you need to know, I have this idea, I want to get in the real estate. So if you're getting into the real estate, who are the competitors? Who are the startups? How can I start without even borrowing? Because I have consulted for a company called Urithi. Of course, they can have had challenges now, but one of the things that has happened is this. They have used the rule of numbers to be able to get clients. So you gather people up, they all become members, they become shareholders, you form a cooperative, you can be buying land, you can be building for them. So you need to check what are your plans. If you want to get to the likes of the now fallen giants like Suraya and all that, I give examples of startups that have come and are doing very well, like Wilstone Homes. Unaanza polepole, unajenga mambo yako polepole, but you have the end goal in mind that you want to be the biggest real estate company in Kenya. The only thing that I would ask, and I've seen it in the comment section, integrity. If you are a good man and you talk the right things to the right people, we have said that with the proper networks, you don't need to borrow also. You might be you can get money from other people, either venture capitalists. I know venture capitalists will ask for more interest than your local bank, but for a startup, it is a problem or it is a challenge to get money from the bank. I hope I have clarified that.
Thank you very much. Machuma is saying, cheers, Joseph. We work together at Vision Fund. Thank you, Machuma, for coming and cheering on your colleague. Great to have you here. Mary Blessed is asking, and I know Mary Blessed, I think she has a banking background. I hope you are not reporting your employer. Is there any legal action that can be taken against a bank that lie their interest rates to attract clients? I'm wondering whether that is still possible now under the new regulations, but I know it was rampant. So, but you can respond.
I think we have a very serious CBK guy at the top. So I think people will say that they were lied to, but for the banker also, they will say the client never listened to me. So these are cases where you say it is a challenge getting to know whether this was true on the side of the customer or whether the banker lied. But of course, there are mechanisms that have been set up. If a client, of course, was lied to, there is COFEC where you can report this to, and they are able to follow. They are very serious guys. Consumer Federation. Then on this other end, of course, there is a way that has been set up. So you can always report. But I know the challenge is for you as a customer, can we kindly read the fine print of every document we are given by a financial? Watu wengi huku nje hata wenyewe wajui kenye wanakuuzia, so you have to read for yourself, understand, and be able to make a decision. Asante.
Yeah, thank you. And anyway, these days, I think from the time they did the interest capping, there's that requirements for what does it call? You know, cost declaration of cost. I think it's an obligation of every financial, especially the banks,
yes,
to declare the, you know, in bold, black and white. This is how it will cost. You know, in terms of processing fees, whatever, insurance, everything. The customer should know, and it should be on the front page of I think even on the offer letter, it should be very clear and even quantified. The amount on this is this, the amount on the other thing is this. So right now, it's very hard to claim that you are lied to. That information you have been given and you have signed against it. So Kitambo, I think it was happening. I worked with a microfinance where we were selling loans at 42% per year, and people are still buying. Because you need to perfect lying to be able to sell such kind of a loan. So anyway, God delivered us. Don't worry. So I want to go to the next question, but before then, I want to share a poll that you can. It's just 3 questions. One is asking, did the presentation meet your expectation? Just a yes, no, or maybe question. And did you find the topic exhaustively covered, and would you recommend or further engagement on this or related topics? Give us the suggestions of, for the suggestions, share them on the chat. If you have ideas of, you know, you are feeling like, I wish he could have touched on this, share them on the chat. That one will help us also going forward, so that when we engage this speaker or any other speaker in this line, we know which are areas that you would be interested in. So as you continue doing that, we continue with the questions. So Gladys is saying, if you withdraw cash, it's very, very expensive just to help people specifically use it for shopping. Okay, yeah, that's I think is a word of advice there. If you withdraw cash, it's very, very expensive just to help people specifically use it for shopping. Yeah. So I think, and by withdrawing, I want to believe, Gladys, you are talking of borrowing. So don't just borrow money and then ukisha itoa kwa account, you are just dishing out, you know, you are asking, and of course, you know, if you come from where I come, by the time you are getting into the home area, it's like people smell, you know, you have money, and wanaanza kukwambia toa za macho, you know, unaenda ukitoa za macho. So thank you. Kes Tedai, it's great to see you here. If someone has lost the job due to COVID, both business and employment, and has an outstanding few $100,000, what can one do to reduce the load? I think that's a question that would really, I know you talked about Mukopo ni Mujinga, but right now, of course, is a reality as it is. We have so many people who are in that space. How would you respond to that, Joseph?
Okay, I'm imagining, I feel the person. I feel the person, because loss of a job is crazy. I've lost jobs thrice, and I know it is problematic. It would have formed part of my stories on the experiences. So one of the things that happens is that it is a very cold place, and her or him coming out is just commendable. So one is to get, you need to talk to the bank. You need to tell them, or the financier, please discuss with them how you're trying to move things around so that you're able to come back to the top. So what I'm encouraging is this: please talk to your financier. Asikuje kukufuata na ulikuwa umeongea naye. I know we have crafty debt collectors, and part of my job as the director for East Africa region at the International Center for Professional Collection is to teach debt collectors to be more customer-centric. I know it is a hard challenge. I know it is problematic, but what I would encourage is somebody visit your financier, talk to them. Talking will not take anything away from you, but also when it comes to business, I don't know at top of my head what businesses you can start, because I also advise that whatever business you're starting, you need to be starting something that is in your passion area. I would tell you lending, because that is what I like doing. but that probably is not what you want. Then the other question is, okay, you could be in debt. Had you any money kept aside to this day? So there are various things that you need to consider before I can advise or guide. But I will leave my number. You can always call, SMS, WhatsApp, whatever, or Zoom as we are doing here. We can discuss. It will be a free session. I will charge Matthew. Asante.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you, Boyo. Samuel Boyo here is. Thank you again. I appreciate you for coming. You should be one of our speakers soon. There is some monthly interest. He's responding to the question of on the the credit card. That there is a monthly interest rate on the amount utilized on the credit card, charged on the due date monthly. That is normally between 1st to 10th. And then there is an annual subscription, which is paid annually. If there is an excess of a limit on your credit card limit, then again, it will be charged on a specified rate. Thank you very much, Bwana Boyo. Boyo has been in this space for a long time and a very senior guy in the banking sector. Okay, thank you. Queen M is saying,
Matthew, I can't hear you. Hello?
Sorry, not less. Oh, hear me now?
Oh, I can't hear you.
Hello. Oops.
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I think my network may have again weakened. Somebody was trying to call me. I don't know whether that affects the network because now I switched to Safaricom.
Yes.
It's okay. Okay, again, I can see a lot of that one. I will not read for the one for Mukiti. I think several bankers have responded to the issue of the issue of credit cards. So you have the information, read for yourself there so that we move faster. Well, the people don't. Sorry, you can hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was saying the elaborate response there by Mukiti S. Everybody can read for themselves. It's about the credit cards, and I think he has really detailed it, how it is usually charged. So wealthy people do not save. Instead, they use collective savings from the poor to build their investments and wealth. Invest. If you have to borrow, then please do it for the right purpose. That is Gladys. George is saying borrow for investment, borrow for emergency. If a must, avoid borrowing to consume. Thank you very much. And I think, that is exactly where the biggest problem is. And especially speaking to the youths and young people here, that's where the biggest problem is. Mshwari, why do you borrow Mshwari? Is it because you are going to do a business? Very few people borrow that 3K to go and do a business. Most likely you go and buy supper. So when you borrow for consumption, then it's not a very wise decision. It will always come biting. And you will borrow 3,000 today. The other, if you compute that totally to the end of the year, I'm sure you will be surprised that most likely your borrowing has maybe just be 3K, but you have paid interest of 20K or something like that. So much information. Okay, that is full disclosure to customer as it relates to all charges and cost of credit. Thank you, Samuel Boyo. Yeah, he was clarifying that these days is full disclosure. There are no hidden charges. If a bank hides, I think you just go report them to CBK. There is nobody who should hide anything from you now. Clients, when they need loan, they don't read the fine print. They read when they fail to pay. Yeah, that is true, Samuel. Thank you very much. Yeah, and it is actually deliberately that the banks put the loan application form or the credit card application form, the front page where you sign is written in very legible letters. But the other side there, terms and conditions. Have you ever seen the way it is usually very small words and so many pages? I think they repeat a lot of things there. So that yes. You get frustrated to start reading even before you. So you just go down there and sign. Yes, I accept. So that is where the things are hidden. So So thank you. I think you wanted to comment on that because we are finishing. I can see the questions are over. But now for the poll we have just done, there was a suggestion. There was a last question which was saying, would you like us to have a further engagement on this or any related question? I've said if yes, then share your suggestions on the chats. So share your topics. I can see almost actually 100% of you are saying yes. So what other related areas would you want us to touch on? Just share them there. We'll pick them. Just chat them there. We'll pick them after the discussion and see how else we can engage further on the topic. Yeah. So you wanted to comment on the last point?
Which
Joseph?
last point? Which last point?
Oh, I thought you wanted to comment on that point on clients when they need a loan, they don't read the fine prints. Yeah.
The last. It's just me reiterating that we need to be very keen on the fine print. You can't run away from that. I am seeing when people come to the bank, they are very good borrowers, but once things start going haywire, wanakuwa watu wengine. I remember we used to fund some burus in Nanyuki. So whenever they needed loans, they would move from Rumuruti into Nanyuki, get a loan, they would speak Swahili. But once they get the money, now a default, they get back to Rumuruti. Ukipatana nao hawajui Kizungu, Kiswahili ama Kimasai. So I know what money does. Money is a challenge. People will use it. People will use it to change faces. They will do whatever they want. But what we are saying is that the Bible accepts loan that is paid. And I repeat, Psalms 37 verse 21, the wicked borrow and does not repay. So we need to be good borrowers. We need to read the fine print. I'm seeing a few people talk about how you need to talk about debt management. I think that is a topic we can cover the next time. Muombe kufunguliwe. I love physical trainings. These ones, when I see a poll and we have people who didn't understand, I think, Matthew, we need to do something about it. So that okay, next time to bebe kila mtu. I have also rushed very fast over the topic, so I'll share the notes. Anybody who needs to engage, feel free to engage. As I said, Matthew will pay me handsome. So feel free to engage me.
Thank you very much. I will definitely pay handsomely. So God bless you so much. I think we end it there. See you on Saturday. Thank you.